Welcome to the QB School Show. Fired up for this one. Another thing I wanted to talk about on the QB Show this week was the fact that Hal Mummy, basically the father of the air raid, I heard he got basically either tore up his knee or broke his leg on a sideline collision. So I wanted to talk about this kind of real briefly about sideline collisions, sideline etiquette on the sideline at an NFL game or really any high-level football game. The first thing that if you've never been on a sideline of a high-level football game, it's essentially a car crash every play. I mean, there is violence and explosion all over the place. And so when you're there, you know, the white is like, I don't know, 2 yards, maybe 6 feet. Then you have maybe another 6 feet, 2 yards of like a line for the coaches to operate in. But oftentimes people don't stay in the field. So if a play goes to the sideline, guys will get tackled out of bounds. People run out of bounds. If there's a punt, gunners are running out of bounds all the time. There's just no other way to put it. It's a violent place to be, and it's dangerous on many levels. You don't see children on sidelines. There's all sorts of health issues. And in fact, I remember vividly, like it was yesterday, I was playing for, who was I playing for? The Vikings. Mike Tice was our head coach. And I want to say it was a punt gunner. It might have been a wide receiver. I'm pretty sure it was a punt gunner. Got pushed out of bounds and got collisioned out of bounds by the defender and right into his knee and blew out his leg. And he was standing in the coach's stripe. So not the white, not like the sideline, but like there's another coach's stripe beyond that. And like it's one of those things where if you're not watching the play, especially if you're like on the sideline having a conversation, especially on like a fourth down situation where there's a transition for units on the field, it is dangerous. And I remember being caught a few times where you watch people on the sideline, people who know what they're doing that are lifers down there. And when the play is coming at you, all you want to do is go backwards. Like that's the natural thing, is to just go backwards. And that's usually a good answer, except when you go backwards and now there's you're all of a sudden trapped. Like there's someone behind you who's not going backwards. And now all of a sudden you're trapped and you're in a violent collision and you're not moving and they're moving at full speed. And there are probably multiple people coming at you. And so for me, I was always intentional about being on the other far away from the play, down the thing, just because I'd seen it enough. In fact, I remember my college coach for the 5 years I was in college, he used to always say he got hurt on the sideline, and he would always say, protect yourself on the boundary, protect yourself on the sideline, protect yourself on the boundary, because he let up right before he was about to go out of bounds and someone rolled into him and hurt his knee. And so for me, it's always been, when I was playing, I would run through that boundary like full speed all the way through, like 5 yards through the line of scrimmage, because I didn't want someone thinking I was still in bounds, taking a cheap shot or running through someone. And I always think of like the reason Tom Brady is playing, to a certain extent, the reason he got his opportunity. Drew Bledsoe on the sideline, smacked. The sideline is a weird thing because it's almost like an artificial wall where there's this element of like super guy toughness of like, I'm not going out of bounds. I'm going to run. I'm going to create a collision for no reason, as opposed to just getting what you can get and get out of bounds, which I think is the way of the game now a little bit more than it was. I used to remember hearing coaches say, you pretend like there's a cement wall on the sideline. You do not run out of bounds. And so it was always just like this added element of collision, violence on the boundary. And it happens to coaches. I swear it happens to the coaches too much. And it's one of those things where they just don't pay attention, or they're looking down at their play sheet and all of a sudden they're swiped out from someone on the sideline. So it's one of those things for me, even when we watch film at the high school level, I tell our players, protect yourself on the boundary at all costs. Never let up on the boundary. Run through the sideline and protect yourself, and realize that there are people who are out there who they have bad intentions, and they're coming to get you. And that's, at that level, at the pro level, it's their job. But at the high school level, they're looking for, any sort of shot on someone who's not protecting themselves at all times. And you let your guard down almost naturally on the sidelines. And this built up thing where even in practice, you don't slow down on the sidelines. You protect yourself on the sidelines at all costs. And so it's just it's a bummer to see people get hurt on the sidelines. And it's not as bad, I guess, when it's a coach or a lifer, someone who's been in it. But when you see like reporters or cameramen or just fans that are down there with a sideline pass, it makes me nervous. And as just someone who loves football, who's seen so many bad things happen on the sideline. So, have your head on a swivel the next time you're down there.